Last time on Polymorph Self, the battle began in the temple hall, and the UNT half-blood priest mind-controlled Manto, the wolf companion of Billicus the druid. They fought a giant viper. Hjani shot it with arrows, while fending off 2 or more cultists with her spare leg. Then, finally, after 71 episodes, our barbarian Seyda used her signature barbarian ability, Rage, and hearts broke a bound as mind-controlled Manto bit his master Billicus, who was in wild shape form as a gorilla. Billicus, you had to be there. Next, the party fell into dodgy, borderline offensive joke territory, but all was saved when Seyda cut the head off the priest, and the battle was won. Descending into the lower dungeons, they found sad prisoners, hung up and prepared to be eaten by the snake people in a terrible kitchen. But they got over it, and the exploration continued. Anything else to add?
Billicus is not the deepest character, I feel.
And he hasn't smoked up for a
Right,
while by his standards.
20 minutes.
Like I was actually gonna smoke up, but I thought, like, can I do that in gorilla form? Because where would I pull it from?
You got one more 10-minute round and your gorilla form expires. Just letting you know, one more.
So I better use it wisely.
Sure. How many times a day can you cast Wild Shape?
I think it's 1, and next level it's going to be 2.
Okay. So you're almost done. Back to action. So you've totally seen that area, and you walk out past the cells, and you rejoin Hjani in the lower chamber.
Hey guys, Muty says Narja's this way.
Let's go kill him.
Yeah, let's go kill Narja. Hey, mute guy, we're gonna be okay.
Okay, you walk through the western archway out into a shockingly contrasting chamber. A 30 by 40 foot square underground chamber. However, the walls have been carved, inlaid, and covered up to have a semblance of it being like a room in a house. The floor is carpeted in lush red rugs. Tapestries hang around, and you can see a northern wooden door, a southern wooden door, both single, and double doors on the opposite side of the room. And it just really looks like you're really in a room in a chateau, recreated underground. Obviously, this way in the level is quite different to the cells and kitchen. It's all been done out. So, door in the north, door in the south, red rugs on the floor, and a pair of double doors facing you right now.
Let's kick down those double doors.
Oh,
Let's do it.
I smashed them in my gorilla form.
As your final gorilla action.
Yes.
What's your strength?
21.
In gorilla form is 21. So
Yes.
that gives you a +5 strength bonus, and you only have to beat 12, the minimum check, to bash these doors in.
Oh, I hope I don't fail. It'd be so anticlimactic.
Oh my god.
I rolled a 1.
Okay, so here's exactly what happens, and no joke, okay? I'm going right into this. Billicus, right at the end of his wild shape ability, flagging, just does one of those gorilla sort of scamper charges things, like leaning right into it on all fours, just goes barreling towards the doors, rears back to smash its entire weight on these 2 double doors. At the exact moment, he reverts to Billicus and just knocks himself out by butting his face and head right into the doors. He bounces off it and now is lying on his back, and you just sort of see a brief, confused look on his face, and now he's out cold. He's knocked himself out on the doors.
Oh my god. Maybe we should wake up Billicus before we break down these doors.
I pour some of my water on his forehead.
Okay, you do that. Seyda, what's your action?
I stand over him with concern, but I'm probably going to look slightly menacing when he does come round.
Moments later, you come around as Billicus.
Did it look cool?
It looked really cool. You were really cool.
Billicus, you notice the doors are still there.
I try just to open it. I try to open the door.
Garrick, you turn the handle and open the doors inwards easily.
Wow.
It's not locked.
Good job, Billicus.
However,
Thanks
they are
for
large.
that.
They are large, heavy doors, and until you turned that handle, they were quite firmly latched together.
So it was a stiff handle.
Yeah, exactly. That's basically what it was. It was a stiff handle.
Right.
Gorillicus, if it's any consolation, Gorillicus would have smashed them down easily. But as Billicus, you essentially just threw yourself against a block of wood.
It
was pretty good.
Teach me that move sometime.
On the other side is, like a mirror image of the cells, except in this, outfitted area. So you see a long 100-foot long hall with a sort of curved cellar ceiling, about 9 foot high, and all of the walls are covered in rows of banked gallery seating made of wood, kind of like inside a cathedral, like banked wooden gallery seating with sort of banisters in front with sort of book holders, like a place for some sort of like church ceremony or a meeting. And at the far end of the hall, on a dais, a raised area with a small amount of steps leading up to it, is a throne in a sort of semicircular, sort of rounded out ending to this hall. So a throne facing you at the opposite end and wooden gallery seats all the way down.
Well, I draw my bow and I walk all the way down.
Garrick.
I follow behind her with my mace in hand.
Billicus.
I fire one up.
You've got quite the headache to get rid of, yeah.
Seriously. And
You do. And as usual, you kind of forget in between, but when, in my mind as a DM, every time you pull out a spliff, you always like a sort of low-key satisfied, like, I rolled that, it's pretty well rolled. You notice that. Every time you pull one out, you notice that you're pretty good at this rolling, just to let you in on that. Seyda.
I check the benches for any literature.
Okay, so looking around the benches, you find it all completely empty in these galleries, almost as if they're not really used at all, or very, very sort of rarely. Billicus, you take a few hits, and your headache is sort of like moving into the background.
I'm just trying to get to normal right now.
And Garrick and Hjani, you arrive at the end. You ascend the 3 small steps to the dais, and you see this throne is carved out of stone, like from the block when this place was made. All of its armrests and its back are carved as if all kinds of regular-sized snakes were kind of crawling all over it, but it's a carving, and all around the back of it, again, the walls are lined with wood paneling.
Turn it into a dick.
Turn it into a duck.
I spit on it.
The throne, right?
Yes.
You do that impressively.
You defile it.
But
Hey.
like I hawked a loogie and everything.
Okay, let me DM this shit. You snort,
Yes.
taking 2 full barrels of snot back into your throat, chambering it, mixing with dwarven spit, a combination of saliva, decades-old beer, and nose hair in hairball form. You roll it around in your mouth. You spit it powerfully out between your pursed lips, and it explodes in a glob of unsanitary goop into the center of the throne with perfect aim.
Take that, chair.
Hjani, you witnessed that.
Ew.
Oh, I didn't think you were looking.
I was watching the throne.
I don't like these snake people anymore after what they've been capturing people and they've just been cutting off their tongues. Like, that's not cool, right?
Do you want to maybe check to see if there's like any magic coming off this throne?
Yeah, I could do that.
Detect magic.
In the meantime, Billicus and Seyda, what do you do now?
Can I get a hit on your special cigarette there?
Not a problem.
Thanks.
I puff pass.
Okay, you share the joint. And now back to Garrick.
I cast my 0-level spell, Detect Magic.
You cast Detect Magic. An area in the wall, in the paneling behind the throne, appears as a huge red rectangle to you. Exactly sort of filling a rectangular group of these wooden panels.
Guys, red rectangle.
Wait, was it
What-
red
what
squared
are you
over
talking
there,
about?
or-
Red
no,
square at night.
now it's a rectangle.
That doesn't quite rhyme, so I guess we can go there, right?
Red rectangle is
Newfangled.
newfangled. Go check it out, Hjani. I point to it.
Don't tell me what to do, but okay, I'm gonna go check it out.
Please.
Classic Hjani. Okay, Hjani, you go and you check it out. And what's your search skill?
3.
3. Okay.
Really?
Since Detect Magic has already been used to, go through the magical concealment element, now let's see if you can find the catch to open this secret panel. You need to get a DC 15 or more on search.
Wouldn't you just be able to do that with trap binding?
Roll your dice and try. Don't be so down on yourself.
Okay. I did it too.
Be down on yourself.
You did it too. Baby did it too.
Okay. Actually, as well as that was funny, as a DM, I want to point out, I like that you did it and didn't go for the trap sense option, even if you failed, because you should do what you imagine your character wants to do. You shouldn't go down and choose items off a menu, because then it just becomes a lame paper version of a computer RPG, right? That was awesome play, Hjani.
So basically, I was making like a muttering, like, why don't you just go trap sense this?
No.
While, like, looking for it
The
myself.
DM rewards Hjani's correct playing style. In fact, you succeed.
Okay, sweet.
Yeah, you do, because DM likes that, and DM Andy's playing style is all about, doing what you imagine you want to do and worrying about the checks after that, going to an appropriate one. So you find a secret door.
Sweet.
But between Garrick's magic check and your searching, you uncover a secret door.
Does she uncover it by like putting her weight on it and spinning around?
Now you've said that, yes, she does.
Yes.
You all see Hjani pushing on the area that Garrick is.
While muttering. Like, what
Yeah,
did you
muttering.
use fucking trap sense?
And she pushes on it, and she sort of disappears. It goes like revolving panels, and then she appears again, and then she disappears again, and then she appears again, this time, finally facing back into the room.
Found it.
Was that fun?
Yeah, it was actually kind of fun. I feel a lot better now.
While you were back there, you notice it conceals a spiral staircase, a narrow spiral staircase heading down to a lower level.
Did you see anything back there?
There was this spiral staircase. It was kind of narrow, but it looks like it was heading down to another level. I think we should go down that level.
I'm willing to descend to your level.
Do we need a light?
It's still... This whole complex is lit with lanterns and torches, varying, hanging up on walls. It's a currently in use, maintained dungeon complex.
All right, I head through. I cradle Manto because I can't figure out how we could both go through separately because he's
Your emphatic link tells you
oblong.
that. Yeah. Your emphatic link tells you that Manto is just totally has thrown away the trauma of his mind control and is his healthy old self.
Okay, but I'm saying how can he spin around if he's long?
No, because if you only open it carefully halfway, it just opens up a door-shaped hole.
That makes so much more sense than what I was thinking. I open it up halfway.
Seyda?
I follow.
You all enter the secret door and descend the narrow stone spiral staircase. And this is just as if literally all that's there, it's like someone has just cut this down into the rock. So this next level is almost like a sort of excavation. It's no longer ornate. It's no longer shaped with doors. It's just a series of subterranean passages which are roughly square but still not fully carved out. You come out in a small 20 by 20 tiny square chamber with one subterranean passage heading off to the east. It's about 6 foot tall, so the taller of you have to duck down a little bit. It's in the shape of a dungeon corridor, but it hasn't had flooring. It's just really recently hewn, and it's very cold down here and damp. You are now deep under the hill, and you will only be able to go single file eastwards from here on. So my current order has Hjani, Garrick, Seyda, and then Billicus. Do you want to keep that?
I can go first. I can spot.
Sure.
I'll go first.
So Billicus,
I'll go second.
Seyda,
I'll go third.
Garrick, and Hjani brings up the rear this time and doesn't look happy about it for all listeners who are only listening.
Whatever. Yeah,
Okay.
sure, no.
Manto can go last, so you're not last.
Done.
Fine. Okay,
And Manto's keen sense of smell can prevent ambushes, maybe.
maybe.
Plus,
Okay.
you get to hang out with Manto at the back.
That's cool, I guess.
Now and again, on this long subterranean passage, are hooks in the ceiling with kind of full-on miner's lamps hanging. And now and again, you see little chips of rock and debris that has not been removed since this was dug, essentially. And you're all stooping a little bit,
I'm 6'1".
Yeah, so you're stooping. Now, the thing about here is that in this environment, Garrick is fully... Dwarves have... Stonecraft, Darkside, they're totally at home. Once it gets this far down, they love it. They're fully mobile, so you're going to get some bonuses and things that happen on this level, okay, Garrick?
I'm whistling a cheery tune.
Yep, you are. And you're really at home here. And after about 10 minutes of following this long, thin subterranean passage, it arrives at a crossroads, north, south, east, west. You're coming from the west, moving east, and they all look identical and go off as far as the eye can see.
Do I see any signs of movement?
No signs of movement, no.
I mean, not movement.
That's,
any signs of traffic, I should say.
What's your survival skill? Which, for listeners, we use together with the track feat, or with druids for tracking people.
11.
It's a little bit dusty and has debris, but it's a solid, hard, flat surface, so it's DC 20.
DC 20.
Yes.
I rolled a 14 plus 11 is 25.
Easily succeeded. You see that most traffic that comes down here, small signs like debris that's been knocked, and you're using your expert experience at tracking, most of it seems to be heading south.
I head south and I kind of wave the party along.
Okay, Billicus examines the ground and then gives you a silent wave as he continues heading south. And You follow him, right? Or
Yes.
maybe you just let him go and say, fuck that guy. I don't know.
Right.
We
I'm
go.
leaving.
We go.
Guys,
home.
let's
The end. The end.
Back to Kakatha.
Billicus died in Vietnam.
And this whole thing was his fever vision as he
Yes.
died. Okay, and just to paint the picture, you're in this cold, sterile, subterranean, debris-strewn tunnel, like a newly made dungeon. And again, it's really sort of sterile and cold down here, except for you're behind Billicus, so you're downwind.
Right, I'm smoking and I'm
Yeah.
just puffing the
Yeah,
whole way.
yeah. You guys are like downwind, so you got like heavy marijuana cloud washing over your
It's the
faces.
first
the
time I
whole
actually
time.
said that was what it was.
Oh, well, that's true, because you're a druid in the fantasy world, and you have all kinds of herbs and concoctions. Is this a Billicus special recipe?
It's
Wait.
11 herbs and spices.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, listeners, but we don't divulge secret recipes
Right.
on this podcast. That's between. Just email Billicus via the contact form on our blog.
Sure, the thing that I never read because I have no social media.
That's right. I'll read it and pass it on to you. I'm
Sure.
like your manager, Billicus. Seriously, if you tweet at polymorphpod, one word, or go to the polymorphself.com and fill out the contact form, me, DM Andy, I will see it, and I will read the fan mail for the others and decide if I'm going to pass it on to them or not, based on my current spite levels during any given day. Okay, and now...
Send it in. Send it in.
We've been sent so many like just piles of jewels.
Yeah.
I've just never told you,
Yeah.
I've just banked it all, yeah.
Right.
All the donations. Okay, you head south, and after about 10 more minutes, it makes a sharp turn, so you're heading east once more. And this is a really long passageway. But after a while, bizarrely, there is an iron underground dungeon door in the north wall. So it just continues east, but just on your left-hand side, right in the wall coming up, is an iron door.
I'm going to check out that door, see if there's anything out of the ordinary.
It is again, a strong iron door with a single huge keyhole that would fit one of those huge, awesome dungeon keys that you might find on a ring of keys. It has a handle, and it's this thick underground stone, thick iron door. You're not really hearing anything.
I peek through the keyhole.
Okay, you do that. By the way, while he's doing that, Seyda, what do you want to do, if anything?
I watch him peep through the keyhole.
Garrick.
I place my ear on the ground and sense the vibrations throughout this tunnel.
Actually, you know what? Being a dwarf in a tunnel, I'm going to perhaps give you some reward there. Hjani.
Actually, I realized I have some healing balms on me, so I'm gonna rub a healing balm on that one injury I got in the last fight.
How many hit points was that?
It was -4, but altogether I have like -5 hit points.
Okay, you know what? You apply the balm and your wounds are healed.
Ta-da!
And you are down one portion of, or one tin of balm. Billicus, you look through the keyhole and you see that it is lit inside, as this whole area is, with lamps that are kept lit. And obviously you can only see a tiny sort of sliver of something on the other side. But the other side of this door appears to contain an ornate study like you might find belonging to an academic in a university. Books, bookcases, rugs. You can see the corner of a beautiful desk. It's very bizarre considering you're way underground and what you assume to be at least half a mile down these corridors. And there's this, behind this door appears to be an ornate study.
It looks like there's a study behind this door, but I have no idea how we can get on the other side. Anybody have any ideas?
Have you tried just opening it?
I try opening it.
It is unlocked. It swings inwards.
Of course I tried it. You fool.
It's funny, isn't it? The expectations of dungeons is that all doors are like locked or sometimes they're just like, I don't want to lock the door to my study. It's just, I might need to use it in a minute. They don't. But I mean, like, I know we've been very good at keeping meta talk out. D&D version 0 from 1974, which is beloved of retro gamers now, actually has a paragraph in the rules, and I've read it, which says something along the lines of, all doors in dungeons are locked and or trapped for every time you find them as adventurers, but they're always open and freely moving for any monster.
Yeah, luckily we're 3.5, where
That's
sometimes
right.
the doors are unlocked.
I open the door and I say, "Have you tried opening the door?"
Why didn't you use your body again? That worked so well last time.
Oh, burned.
I just, what can I do at this point?
You're pretty mellow
I can't,
anyway.
Right. I
My head's still
look
on the
down.
ground.
I just kind of look down at my feet and I just shuffle through the door.
And also, before you guys enter this study, Garrick, you sort of work out that looking at the construction, the tapering, the sort of workmanship and listening very carefully and putting your ear to the ground as a dwarf with your magical, not quite, don't try and use logic, listeners, but using all your amazing dwarven magical abilities of dungeoneering, I'm going to award it to you without a roll. You see that you imagine about another 50 or 60 feet up ahead that it's eventually going to open out into some sort of natural cave or large cavern. That's what you intimate.
Well, guys, it seems like we're down here for the long run. It's a big place.
I'm going to defer to Garrick on all matters of spelunking.
Okay, you enter the study, and there is a desk with bound books on it, some of them open, a comfortable divan, pillows, cushions. It's got rugs and carpeting in here. At a closer inspection, some of the rugs are starting to gather mildew and go out a bit because it's a cold dungeon chamber. But somebody with pride and intelligence has done this out as their office, and there are 2 or 3 books open on the desk.
I take a look at the books.
Okay, here we go. One of them is another copy of the UNT history manual. What did we call it? That's the name on the episode. So you've become a serpent man.
Right.
101. Beginner's Guide. Don't panic. One of them is a common language reference book which appears to have been stolen or removed from the Hall of Records in Port Valor.
Luckily, 3 of us can read.
Yeah. Detailing transactions and administrators' notes about a village district in the north. You're reading this on the corner. It's like District C1 North region, 50 kilometers of this, ombudsman and mayor's records. It's some sort of obscure village records book dating back 250 years ago. DM checks his notes. Yeah, 250 years ago, and it has a bookmark, and it seems to have been, it's an obscure records manual lifted from what you assume is the city library or records. You all recognize it sitting on the desk. That's the other book of interest.
I pick up the record book and open it at the bookmark and defiantly read it.
She's holding it upside down.
I'm reading it upside down. That's how good I am at reading.
Seyda can do that because she can in fact read Common, as she took.
I went to Barbarian Finishing School.
That's actually exactly right, because listeners know barbarians are illiterate, but they can use one of their starting feats to become literate, which Seyda did do, because she grew up in Kikathra, which is big on literacy and civilization and noble culture. So you do read it, and you open the page on the bookmark and you find it's almost like an alternative version of the legend you discovered in the crypt of Hanna Hallswift. It's a record of a reported incident in a village 250 years ago, which it said used to be called Cour d'Anjou, and it notes that it is now a large town called Three Rivers. I am reading it is still upside down, but I am reading it perfectly. So official date,
upside down.
About 250 years ago, one of the records noted is that a girl called Hanna Hallswift was born in that town on date year of Olisana 1550, which is exactly 250 years ago from today. And then the next entry underneath for that village, apart from, like I said, it's got a note on it that it's now a larger town called Three Rivers, and it's right up north on the frontier of the realm of the Merchant Kings. And it's crime records of a magistrate who's had to travel there to do punishments and sort out a problem. And the notes say that it was a devout religious town, which they had problems with because the villagers are very superstitious and doing all kinds of outlawed religious practices that under the new god Olisana of civilization are now, banned, and that they travelled out there because this girl, Hanna Hallswift, had been reported as coming under the sway of a traveller who the villagers considered evil and containing evil powers who'd been sort of teaching her. They'd been looking after this villager. This traveller was wounded, and they'd given him charity, and they'd sent Hanna, a younger Hanna of about 12 or 13, to look after him. And he'd been teaching her all this stuff, and they decided it was evil. And when she was 18, her uncle wanted her to marry her cousin, and she refused, and according to the records, she got into some fight with the uncle and slew him, at which point the villagers got together and lynched her. And they had to go up there and, execute a whole bunch of the villagers. Having been in Port Valor for a while, by the way, that capital punishment is actually outlawed in the realm of the Merchant Kings. You are from Kikathra, of course, though. Sorry, Billicus, Seyda, and Hjani are from Kikathra, where there most certainly are executions, and you've witnessed some during this these campaigns.
It
Garrick,
livens up the scene.
it livened up the scene a bit, yeah. Garrick is from the Western Spine Mountains, just north of this kingdom, and you're used to this kingdom, so you're used to this new government saying that, they shouldn't, kill citizens and they exile people. You normally get exiled if you've done something really bad in this kingdom. This is painting a different picture to the sort of legend version you got of this girl coming under the sway of someone the villagers said were evil, and then while this traveller had left again, they were trying to marry her off. She had an argument. She was used her skills and powers to kill the uncle, and then the town apparently lynched her, and part of it was to punish and execute a bunch of people in the town, and then the cleric on the scene said that that this Hanna Hallswift deserved a decent burial under Olisana's eyes so that she wouldn't have this ignominious end, and they brought her body back and put it in the crypt, and that's when this cleric founded the Order of the Silver Ring. For it was seen that she had it does note in these more formal notes that she did have a silver ring, and they decided it would only be proper to leave it on her corpse and not steal it off the body. Seyda, you get the impression that the person who wrote this was like this sort of, this cleric and this magistrate who in their mind they were spreading this new civilized way of the kingdom, and they were having to deal with this stuff, and it was really terrible experience for them, and they were trying to do the right thing.
I get that because I can not only read, I can also read subtext.
Cool.
Okay, and during all that time where I was just speaking as a DM, Seyda was recounting that to you generally. And time in.
I look at the book and I see that there's lots of pictures in the book.
They look awesome. Although they're actually, when you look closer, you see it's in fact just like in calligraphy, like they make the first letter of the page huge and full of flags and trumpets and things. It's just a bit of illustration, early illustration.
Actually a lot harder to read than regular text.
Yeah, it's interesting that they illuminated what is essentially just like a record-keeping doc.
There's not really much else to do.
That's what those calligraphers do, man.
Yeah.
Everything's illuminated.
Yeah, just really bored.
That's actually completely true. DM has no comment. It's true. Those scribes who sit around in dusty stone chambers in blustery conditions, that's what they do. They sit there and they just write up all the stuff.
And draw in the margins.
I was going to say, how many secret tiny dicks are there hidden?
I was just going to, let's go back to Hjani's comment just now about drawing in the margins at first. So Hjani has just taken like about 1,000 years of ecclesiastical scholarship and scribe work and literary tradition and said that all that calligraphy was essentially their version of drawing in the margins.
They did a lot.
I think it's true. I totally agree.
They really did.
They were just like nothing else to do. Is that true?
They did a lot of that's what I mean. They did used to scroll dicks in the corners and things just out of boredom.
Yeah.
Right.
So I would like to roll for dicks.
What is your spot check?
My spot check is nothing. It's off my wisdom, which is +1.
Okay, a DC 12, which again, since we're having a big session of me restating some rules, that's like the lowest basic entry-level skill check is beating 12 on a D20.
I rolled a 4 +1.
Okay, you fail to find any subliminal hidden dicks in the illustration of this record book of this the real story, so to speak.
But in your heart, you know you're there. You know that.
Yeah.
You know they're there.
There's definitely dicks here.
Billicus, roll a spot check, DC 12. You did say you were examining the pictures in the book, right?
Yeah. My spot check is, or my spot bonus is 9.
Okay, go for it. DC 12.
12 plus 9 is 21.
You look closely, you turn the page, you look at another one, you look at another one, you see Billicus frowning. Yep, dicks everywhere. Wall-to-wall dicks, if you know where to look.
I snicker.
Okay, that's what you find in here.
I check out the furniture. in
It's
the room,
lovely.
And I take a seat on him, on one of it.
It's really, really comfortable.
And I say, my spells and abilities are getting a little low, guys. What do you say we rest up here, and then we continue on?
Sounds like a fine place to rest.
Wait, you want to rest in this random chamber?
Well, I mean,
Random ass
again,
room.
we're like 3 hours underground, and we don't know what's ahead. But we got some iron doors to protect us here.
Can we lock it from the inside?
So how about we barricade ourselves in here for the, I think, night?
I trust Garrick.
Thank you.
I look through the books and see if I can find any sweet ninja books, and for some nighttime reading material.
Here's the thing. This is a complete library of some big bad of the UNT culture.
Oh my god.
And you actually, no shit, you actually do find the manual about the indoctrination, the training process, how they're created, what the skills are, the full guide on how to become one of those ninjas.
I grab all those books.
It's literally called The Teeth of the Serpent How-To Guide.
A training guide.
Oh, totally. I grab it.
Teeth of the Serpent for Dummies.
This is the real thing. It's actually here. That totally makes sense. And you
Yes.
now have the book telling you the entire training process, the theory behind it, the skills, the equipment, the philosophy. It's all in there.
I'm going to be studying this.
Okay,
I mean-
Seyda,
I wouldn't mind a nap, but it does kind of seem like this is a pretty evil study.
Hjani.
Yeah, it's a pretty evil study, but now that someone sat down to start reading,
That's halfway to sleeping. So
and another person is already like falling asleep on the couch, I guess I'll take first watch.